Hey family, welcome back to Poetic Jams, the hub for a lesson and a blessing through poetic lenses. Now today we're going to get into the styles of poetry. Now everyone knows that poems can rhyme, but did you know that they could be nonsensical and apparently well received? No? I didn't either, but that's what we're here for. And I need you to tune in because we're going to learn you something today. Family, what's going on? Welcome to our poetry history lesson. So today we are going to talk about poetry types. Now everybody knows that poetry is its own genre, but did you know that there are specific examples of different things that we do? No? You didn't know that? Well, buckle up, because we're going to go through all the poetry types and what you need to do rule-wise to adhere to it. Now, come on guys, let's mosey on over here. All right. Now, there are two main types of poem types. The first type that we're going to talk about is no bounds. Now, it's not really no bounds, so to speak. It's just that the requirements that you need to adhere to this type of poem is like one or two types that you have to specifically get into. And we're going to talk about that today. So the first one that we're going to talk about is blank verse. Now, blank verse doesn't really have any structure other than its meter. As long as you have a meter in it, and it's a poem, it is quite literally blank verse. Now, most people do iambic pentameter because of my man Billy Shakes. You know what I'm saying? My man Willie, Billy Shakespeare. You know what I'm saying? As long as it feels right. One of my favorite examples of it is the Scottish play by my man Willie Shakes. Now I know you guys are probably thinking, hey, yeah, what's the Scottish play? I'm an actor by nature, and one of our superstitions is that you can't say Scottish play by its name. So just look it up. Or maybe we can put it right here for you guys to see. But I won't be saying it. But I will be playing the titular character in this poem. Tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, brief candle. Life is nothing more than a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. Our next type of poetry is going to be free verse. Now kids, that's exactly what it sounds like, free. You can write a poem right now, and if it don't rhyme, doesn't have any kind of structure that most people would ask for, it's a free verse. Technically, if you want to get technical, if I call this what I'm saying to you guys right now a poem, it's free verse. There's no meter, there's no je ne sais quoi, there's no, sorry, I'm a little French today. There's no real structure to it. You just do it, like Nike. Our next type of poems they're more or less associated with each other. They're not exactly the same thing, but a lot of times they are coined as being two sides of the same coin. Get it? Coin, two sides of the same coin. Anyway, our next poetry types are going to be elegies and odes. Now, elegies are poems that are really just talking about mourning, loss, and death, right? Sounds simple enough. That's the only requirement. That's it. It just has to talk about loss, mourning, or death. Now, odes can talk about those things too, but their requirement is that you just have to give praise and remembrance to a subject matter, a person, a place, an idea, a philosophy. And these things are what makes a poem, or these specific poems. And so these are considered two sides of the same coin because a lot of odes are to people that are no longer here, or things that might have past their prime. And so sometimes they get associated with elegies. but these are two separate things. This is why they're called two separate things. You know what I mean? The biggest example of an ode is John Keats' Ode to a Grecian Urn. You know what I mean? Ain't that something? That's wow. Anyway, because I feel like you guys are just staring at me. You guys aren't writing this down. I feel like you guys aren't taking any notes. So I need you to get a book. If you don't have a book, buy one. If you ain't got the money to do it, just get some scrap paper. Get a pen, and I know y'all got pens because every time I go to Target or every time I go to Staples, I can't find any pens. So I know somebody got them. And just write it down, guys. It's really not that. I yell, but it's not that deep, I promise. But if you don't know, now you know. Our next poem type is going to be rule bound. Now these poem types have more structure and they have more rules that we have to adhere to. And as long as you adhere to these rules, you got yourself this type of poem types. But we're going to get into these specific types right now. Our next type of poetry is going to be rhymed poetry. Now rhymed poetry is exactly what you think it is. You got to have a rhyme scheme. It can be a little AA, it could be a little AAAAA, which is probably, you know, a vibe, if I do say so myself. You got the AB, 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 A, A, B, C, D, C, D, C, D, A, B. A lot of different rappers and rhythmic poets do it. And guess what? Your boy's gonna do one for you today. Okay? Okay.
I am a melodramatic, mentally asthmatic, hella fantastic, anti-bombastic, poetry addict, listening to oldies in my attic. Jazzy only love the instrumental for trumpets and the saxes. Peace to the masses, hella intelligent but bored in my classes. No need to mask it, you wanna know a question's answer, don't dance around it, just ask it.
Our next poem type is a little bit more goofy, is a little bit more playful. This is me being playful. I don't know. I'm so sorry. But our limerick is just a goofy poem. The only real requirement is that it has to be 5 lines. It only has to be 1 stanza. And of those 5 lines, the first 2 lines have to rhyme. The second 2 lines have to rhyme. And the last line has to rhyme with the first line. Okay? So basically it's an AA, BB, A, sentence structure, and poem structure, and line structure. All of that felt good, didn't it? It feels good to me. So I'm actually gonna have my guy, Daniel A. Hall. Daniel, come up here. Why don't you read this limerick that you wrote? Hi guys, I'm Daniel A. Hall. How you guys doing? I'm just gonna do my limerick for you guys, and I'll be on my way. Okay. I fell on the floor and felt super sore. We had a great laugh, and even after it passed, we felt ourselves wanting some more. Thanks, Daniel. That was something. Moving on, our next poem type is one in which the structure is going to be a little bit more demanding and a little bit more specific. And that poem type is going to be a Villanelle. A Villanelle is the most structured poem type that we're going to encounter today, for the simple fact that a Villanelle has multiple requirements. A Villanelle has to be 19 lines. You're probably thinking to yourself, how can I come up with 19 lines? They tell you how to do it, so it's fine. So of those 19 lines, you're going to need 5 3-line stanzas, as well as 1 4-line stanza. So either way, if you do one, you're gonna do the other. So it has to be 19 lines. And it's not that hard once you get started, I've been told. I found it being difficult myself. And that's just to show you that it's okay, because we'll get through it if we do it. Like Nike. Now, with these types of poems, these villanelles, the perspective of the author or the narrator in the poem has to be that of an obsession. The subject matter has to be something that the poet or the writer or the narrator finds tantalizing. And if you guys have been watching before, tantalizing should sound familiar. You should check out our last one if you haven't. was an awesome thing. Anyway, this type of idea of an obsession is what really fuels the Villanelle. It's what really gives it that distinct type of feeling. And one of the most significant ones is, what is it? We did this gag already. I don't think they're appreciative of it again. Huh?
Dylan Thomas.
Dylan Thomas. Oh, Dylan. Right, that boy that said, do not go gentle into that good night. You guys don't know that? Do not go gentle into that good night. So our next poetry type is one that is honestly the one type that everyone has heard about. I'm sure that you probably heard about it in your English literature classes or your creative writing classes, or anytime you hear about a certain playwright / poet. So I need you guys to just guess it for me. I'll wait. Guys, it's sonnet. Real simple, real easy. Sonnet. Say it with me, guys. Sonnet. Sonnet. Awesome. So sonnets are 14-line poems, usually dealing with love or some type of affectionate feeling toward a thing, person, or idea. So most people know about sonnets from my man Willie Shakes. And if you don't know who Willie Shakes is, but yeah, we're not gonna do, basically, I was saying all that to say, we're not gonna do William Shakespeare because everyone knows about that good old reliable, shy compadre. True summer's day. Thou art most lovely and the most temperate. Nah, we're not doing that because we're putting people on the poets and poetry on the people. And nobody not knows who William Shakespeare is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a poem that yours truly has written. It's a sonnet that I wrote some time ago, and it's called God's Favorite Poem. I hope you guys enjoy it. This is Authentic Intelligence, reading God's favorite poem. You are the poem God loves to read the most, for you carry adjectives in your style and adverbs in your walk. You need not boast, because humility lives in your smile. You are the song that lives within my heart and sets the BPM to my whole life. I pray that you and I may never part, for your love outweighs all of the strife. You put the rhythm to the words I say, setting the cadence to the thoughts that I speak. My love for you grows more and more each day, but I'll never tell you because I'm meek. But maybe one day I can tell you this, and then we can eternally live in bliss. AI, that was beautiful. Thank you, AI. Stop, we have to do the rest of the show. Sorry, I love myself. I said it. Anyway, the last poem type that we're gonna cover today is haiku. Now, most of you guys probably know about haikus in that they're a Japanese art form and they're super simple. It is literally 3 lines. That's it. 1, 2, 3. 3 lines of the first line being 5 syllables, the second line being 7, and the last line being 5 once again. Now, you can do that in English, Japanese, Spanish, Italian, just as long as you keep the syllables the same. Now, sharing again with you for your viewing pleasure is yours truly, doing his poem, Life Without. Life without your soul is something that I never hope to experience. Y'all was probably like, that's it? That's it? That's all you gonna do? Well, yeah, that's all a haiku is. It is 3 lines. Now, what some poets do, including myself, because that was just an excerpt, is we'll combine multiple haikus into a poem, because sometimes haikus slap, sometimes they don't. It's okay. So yeah, some poets will do multiple haikus in one poem, others will just do one haiku, and that'll be the entire poem. And that works either way because poems are about feeling. All of the poems that we listed are about emotional responses to things. And that's what's really important, is that we feel the poem, regardless of what the requirements ask us to do, as long as we feel it in our hearts, and then we can take our feelings and our emotions and kind of tailor it to the guidelines that we're supposed to adhere to. But that's all we have today for our history lesson. So I'll see you guys next time. Y'all probably thought I was done with the episode, but you're dead wrong, okay? You're wrong. I hope you didn't click away from the video thinking it was over when there's half of the bar filled. Where were you going? Were you just gonna take a break? Just press pause. That's all you had to do. Anyway, I'm not here to hate. I'm not here to play hate. We're here to spread love, positivity. I was just playing with y'all. I love y'all. It's all love, all good, all the time. Us, together. Anyway, I would like to just get into our next great set of vibes. It's our next poet performance and interview. So I need you guys to give it up for our friend in poetry, in life, and in art. Give it up for Natasha.
Certifiably different, cocoa caramel butter skin, fighting for the world all the way down to unjustifiable sin. I mean, I am me, she, them, a mixture of everything worthy. They call me queen with the K standing for keen, highly developed, highly recommended, and way too sharp for them. You see, not cocky, just confident enough to know that my crown is too heavy for anyone else to ever carry. And I dare not to worry, as my worth is the internal sense of being good enough, worthy of good love, belonging and persevering, while conquering to win. So tell me who dares not to question themselves. I'll tell you that it is a queen, with the K, of course, an empress, one of which who knows the value of her rich roots, and which she carries through the blood that flows through her vessels, leading the next generation to victory.
Wow. Natasha, that poem was that heat. You know what I'm saying? That heat rock. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your words with Poetic Jams, as well as Poetic Jams' community. And thank you for being here.
Absolutely, for sure. I'm excited to be here. So, pick my brain, do what you want to do. I'm yours and that's needed. So
all right, let me get my scalpel out. Let's see what we got going on today. So tell us about Natasha the Poet. Like, how did you come to this place of being a fully realized poet?
Well, so I want to say I never really had a full love for poetry in the beginning of it all. I started writing when I was about 7 or 8 years old. I never took it too seriously. I would just write like little tiny poems about simple things like rainbows or, stuff that you think of as a kid. And then as time went on, so probably 13, 14, I was still writing. So I'm like, all right, this is pretty dope. Like, but I still didn't take it serious. But it was in my senior year of high school, I was in a poetry contest and I'll never forget it. And so I was so nervous. I had so many people tell me like, just go for it, do it. And I'm like, no, you guys, I literally have only written for me, myself, and I have not written for the outside world. I don't know how this is going to be taken. I ended up doing that contest and I won, and it was actually first prize. So from that, from that moment on, I took it seriously. I did. And from my senior year up until my last year in undergrad, I focused on my poetry a lot. But then there came a time, maybe about 22, 23, 24 at the most. I'm sorry, I can't be accurate, y'all. And and when I got to that age right there, I took a break from my poetry. And I was just like, all right, I think my mind went dry. I went dry. Everybody goes through dry spells. So I took a break. And I actually met your cousin through my poetry. And I remember her asking me, so when did you take it completely like seriously? And I'm like, yeah, it's been only about 2 years. So, you know, about almost 3 years ago is when I got back on it, and I've just been on the wagon ever since. And you know, it's fun. I love it. It's a passion, you know, and everybody has ways of expressing themselves. So for me, poetry is that way to express myself. It's my getaway. It's my refresher. It's my, when everybody else is getting on my nerves, let me go pick up a pen and a paper. So yeah, and that's pretty much how I came about, you know. And you know, I guess the question would sometimes become, are you a self-taught poet, or did you have anybody help you? And the truth is I didn't have anybody help me, because I was just writing just to write. I didn't think that my words would turn into metaphorical stories, things that people can relate to and come back and repost and say, hey, I was going through that. And for me, that's always inspiring when I get those messages or those phone calls, because I'm like, guys, you know, a lot of the times I'm just writing. And I think that was another point for me when I realized that my writing had started to help people, is when I took it a lot more serious. But for me, I just came about as a self-taught poet overall, highs and lows, and eventually I mellowed out and I'm here now. So
so I in reading and experiencing the poem that we just heard, one of my like first questions about your style of poetry was word choice. So for me, like the one that like stuck out to me was certifiably different. Like that line, I was like, okay. And like I guess my question is with your word choices, like are there specific vibes that you want to give off with words that you use? Because like, is it like more of it's just what I feel, or is it like I want to use a word that like can accurately describe it? If you could just like talk to that, and that would be awesome.
yeah, so in my style of writing, especially in this particular style here, I always love to, when I'm writing, like again, that first line, like you said, certifiably different. When I started this poem, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna write something traditional to let everybody know that I'm the queen, I'm who I am, and it just is what it is. But then I'm like, no, like I want to do something different. So for me, my style of writing also comes from the music that I hear. A lot of times when I'm writing, I have to have some form of music playing, even if it's an instrumental to an actual song. And so the way that I wrote this poem, I was feeling good about myself. I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm a queen, I'm a Black queen, and this da da da. Like I was feeling good. So, and I remember I was listening to Erykah Badu, and my favorite song by her is Bag Lady. I don't care what nobody says, it's Bag Lady for me.
Bag Lady. You gonna hurt yourself. Come on now.
Okay, like that. All right. So I was listening to that and I'm like, yeah, like, and then I started thinking about how different Erykah Badu is. That's where the inspiration came in. I'm like, yo, Erykah's different. She's versatile. She doesn't care. She's free. She's herself. Like, and then I was already thinking about writing a poem as a queen. So when I put Erykah with the music and I started thinking about how she was, I was like, okay, yeah, she's a queen. I like that. And then I just went with that, and that right there gave me the inspiration to again start with certifiably different, thinking about how different she was. And then I took that and I also was like, yeah, you know what, I'm different too. And I started describing myself. Like in this poem, this is actual things that describe me, how I am. Because when I wrote the poem, you know, it was meant to be, you know, who are you as a poet? And so for me, that's what this is.
That's beautiful. I like that, because I can relate to just wanting to like set the vibe up. So you put on some music and you start bumping and the words just come to you. All right, cool. So I wanna do something a little different, right? So I feel like every person is very unique in their poetry. You know what I mean? To the point where like poetry can be like a bowl of soup. You know what I'm saying? So to the point it's like nobody makes soup like your mama makes soup, or nobody makes soup like your grandmama makes soup. So My thing is like, if we making Natasha's poetry soup, what are some ingredients that you putting in there? Is it a splash of like alliteration? You throwing some cliches, throwing some wordplay in there? Let me know what Natasha's poetry soup consists of.
Okay, my poetry soup is gumbo. All right, I'm just kidding. But that's actually it's sugar and spice and everything that's nice. Okay, so for me, I have to have a nice ambiance. That's number one. So when like in my house, I have several different rooms in here that I can go into and just vibe out. But for me, it's my bedroom, but then I have a walk-in closet in my bedroom. Okay. And I have it set up as like my little writing area. As odd as that sounds, right? Because I have a whole living room and all that, but that's just how I am. Mm-hmm. I set up that and it's a nice ambiance. There's no clothes, no nothing. So I have to have my mood set. That's number one. Mood always has to be set for me. But again, there is several occasions where I could be in a grocery store and instantly think of something. So, but I want to say 90% of the time it's my ambiance. The second thing for me would be metaphors. I love metaphors in all of my poems and all of my writing. Like, I feel like it makes it come to life. When you are able to be metaphoric in your terms, it makes things seriously come to life. And as a poet, I feel like, you know, we can't all be around each other 24/7. And when we use social media, what makes your poetry stand out from the next poet? This is not necessarily a competition because we all share love for the same thing. But what makes your poetry come out more than that person's poetry? So for me, my escape to get away from what other people may be writing is to instantly throw some metaphors in there, metaphors that people have never heard of, and mix it together. And then they're like, wow, that's a dope poem. But as a poet, in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, it's really just simple words. And I twisted them around and tossed some metaphors in there and made it sound like something. So that would be another thing for me. Let's see. Okay, as odd as this sounds, right? I love to have a banana and some chamomile tea by my side when I'm writing.
Listen. Hey, look, I literally, like, I gotta have a cup of water with me at all times. You know what I'm saying? I get it.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, guys. All right. I have to have a banana and chamomile tea. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. But again, that's personal for me. But if I'm giving you my soup, I'm definitely telling you, all in all, that my ambiance has to be set. I have to have some kind of vibe going. There's music, maybe one of my very favorite things to do as well when I'm writing my poetry is listen to natural sounds. So sometimes I might not have music, so I will listen to natural sounds. I will open up my window really wide now that springtime is here, just to hear the birds sing. So for me, all in all, my blend of my soup literally consists of being calm, being tranquil, being quiet, being at peace. You know what I mean? Like, I have to have that nice, peaceful atmosphere in order for me to write. There are some writers who can write in straight loudness and straight confusion. I know a few, and I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, I need quietness. So definitely an ambiance, definitely a nice vibe with some music going or natural sounds, my chamomile tea and my banana. And I'm pretty much simple after that. Yeah. So that's it.
So before we close out, I want to, first of all, I want to thank you for giving us a little insight into that beautiful mind of yours. Thank you for sharing your words and your creativity with us. I wanted, can you just tell the people where they can find your words? If you have any projects coming up that you want them to know about, this is your space. Put yourself on, Queen, with a K.
That's right. but okay. You guys can find me on Instagram. My Instagram name is at Natasha Writes. And again, my name is spelled Natysha. There's an underscore and then Writes, WRITES, at Natasha Writes on Instagram. Again, I don't have a Twitter, so I do apologize.
Hey, listen, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, they still got a place to reach you, you know, and that's.
I don't have a Twitter, y'all. I don't have a Twitter.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you, guys and gals, folks and jokes, saints and ain'ts. I need y'all to get on because we are putting people on, and we are putting y'all on to the greatness that is literally right in front of you guys, and a follow away, a click away. So please, y'all, get in tune, get in tune. But yeah, thank you again, and yeah. I know you guys had a great time because I had a great time speaking with Natasha and her beautiful words. Thank you so much, Natasha, for just being here with us and vibing with us here at Poetic Jams. Our sponsor for today is yours truly, guys. Authentic Intelligence is not just me, it's not just what I do, it's what I want to share with you guys. The link below will have all of my work, all of my merchandise that you guys can purchase. Every dollar that goes into that literally just goes back into Poetic Jams. It goes back into authentic individuals and the work that I do. Yeah, guys, if you guys want to help out Poetic Jams and Highly and Humbly and Authentic Intelligence, that link will also be available down below. You guys can support us by buying merchandise, not just, you know, Highly and Humbly's and Authentic Intelligence, but Natasha, as well as other poets that we have here on the show. So that link will be available down below. Please just help us continue to create and continue to make content that you guys enjoy watching, that you guys enjoy that we put out. This is Authentic Intelligence signing off for Poetic Jams. Stay beautiful, stay safe, and stay authentic.